Yo, it's TheGIBBYNATR. In this video we're going to be going through the best settings for Fortnite on console. So hopefully this video is going to help a load of you guys out. I have been looking around a lot, going to all of like really good players, and I've kind of managed to figure out what I think are the best settings from all of these people. So let's get straight into this video, but before that actually, I'm going to be doing a weekly V-Bucks giveaway, so comment down below hashtag V-Bucks. I'll be announcing the winner every Saturday, so be sure to turn on post notifications and just look out for live streams every Saturday, because that's when I'm going to be doing the giveaways. So let's get straight into this video. So the first thing that is really important, is completely vital that you figure out which is the best controller sensitivity for you, because this is something that is completely personal. Although there are real benefits to having like a high sensitivity and there are benefits to having a low sensitivity, at the end of the day, if you don't like that sensitivity, then don't use it. Just find what you're comfortable with, and then once you're comfortable with a sensitivity, that's when you can start exploring, trying to figure out a sensitivity that is going to help you become a better player. Never mind, because like imagine you just come on Fortnite and you're out here trying to use an 8 sensitivity. That is going to screw you over. You're not going to be able to kill anyone because your accuracy is going to be awful. So you've just got to find that balance. But for me, I use an 8 sensitivity for my horizontal and a 7 for my vertical. Now I use a really high sensitivity just because of building. Now building is probably the most vital part of Fortnite, and it's essential to be a good player that you build really fast. So with a high sensitivity, that means that you can build walls around you really quickly, and it just saves you so much. So if someone's shooting you in the back, you can easily just do a 180 spin, build a wall, and then gun them. Like, it has saved me so many times using this high sensitivity. So I definitely recommend you give a high sensitivity a go if you get the chance. And then for my why, you might be wondering why I actually use this on a lower value. That's only because it's just personal preference. I've done this in Call of Duty for like the past couple months, and I've figured that it actually really helps me out in gunfights when I'm shooting people. I don't know what it is, it just helps me control the recoil more. So you can give that a go, see if it works for you. I don't actually have a real reason for it, like why it works, but it just works for me. I imagine it's because the recoil patterns are easier to control, because you can actually get more of a feel for your compensation pulling down. But yeah, that's why I do that. And then for the ADS sensitivity, I keep that kind of low, because I tend to just like hip fire, and then if I kind of like feel like I need to ADS and my accuracy is a bit off, then I'll do that. And obviously that sensitivity is way lower than 8, so that is when I really need to like be under control, and I'll put it on that. For my scope sensitivity, I have that really high, just because with the snipers in this game, they do tend to like slide across pretty slowly, and obviously Fortnite is such a massive game, and there could be someone that's hundreds of meters to the left or right of where you're aiming, and you want to be able to cover that distance fast. So that's why I use this sensitivity so high. But obviously if you're just trying to use those snipers at medium range, you don't really need that, because you want to be accurate, you don't want to miss. That's just for kind of long range engagements, which is really where I use the high sensitivity, and I've just completely messed up that number. I'll change that at the end. But yeah, and then HUD scale and the safe zone, you just want to keep that to the max. And then 60 FPS, you need to turn that on. I mean, if your console isn't the best, if it's a really old Xbox, the chances are it's not going to be able to do it, because Fortnite is such a massive game and it's just going to lag. But do it anyway, because it does make the game run much smoother than if you are using 30 FPS. That's just like horrible. Well, it's just all over the place and you're going to get horrible lag. So keep it on 60 FPS. That thing, just leave that off. And then the matchmaking region, you've got to keep this on the lowest ping possible. So on there it says auto 32 milliseconds, and that's the response time. So that's like the people it's going to match me to. It's going to match me to people that have got that kind of like ping delay. If you're on like, if I was on an American server, I'm going to be at such a disadvantage, because my bullets are going to register so much later than the other people's bullets are, and that's going to cause you to die so many times, because you won't build quick enough or you won't shoot quick enough. So you want to be on the smallest number there. I mean, there are a lot of like theories, and people say that they find better lobbies on other servers, but honestly just stick to your own region, because that's where you're going to have the best connection and you're most likely to do well. And then for Invert View, now if you don't know what that is, this is like a weird thing with people's brains. So to look up, in reality you would have to push down on the other end of something. So for example, on my head, if I wanted to look up, I pull backwards on it. So that's the kind of like thinking behind the invert view. So you actually pull down on your right stick to look up, and you push up to look down. It makes sense when you think about it, but most people don't do that. You just push up on your right stick to look up, and then push down to look down. That's what most people do. But if you can't get your head around that, and that's just unnatural for you, then put it on invert view. I actually kind of like invert view, like it makes sense to me. but I don't use it in games because I've just been so used to Call of Duty not using it. But if I was thinking of it from a logical perspective, I would definitely use it. And then we've got the sprint cancels reload. I always have that on just because of Call of Duty. And I mean, having to like do another method to like, it's just so much quicker to be able to sprint to cancel your reload. All the other methods are kind of long, but if you can just sprint, it's just really quick. And obviously I'm a Call of Duty player, and that's what it's been like for so many years, so that's why I'm used to that. If you're not used to Call of Duty, then just turn it off if it annoys you. And then that thing, got that turned off. All of this stuff, it's just like, I don't even know what it does, to be honest with you. You just leave it off. Does some weird stuff. It's kind of just like personal preference, that stuff, so I just leave it off. And then auto equip better items, you definitely want that on. Vibration, this is another weird one that I have had off in Call of Duty for so long and off in Fortnite. A lot of people like the vibration because they say it feels like a gun, but for me, having my vibration on actually is kind of detrimental to your game because it's going to throw your aim off. When you're trying to snipe someone across the map and you're getting like vibrations from people hitting you, or if you're trying to like shoot someone across the map with your AR and you're getting all this vibration, your thumb's going all over the place. I mean, it's only minuscule, but it does have an impact, so just turn it off. Like honestly, to start I really liked vibration, but after turning it off I've noticed a massive improvement. You don't really miss out on much, and if anything your controller lasts longer, like battery wise, because it's not having to vibrate all the time. So that's definitely one that I would have off. Aim assist, obviously you want that on. If you turn it off you're probably just a freak with really good accuracy, so you don't need it, but for me aim assist is definitely needed. Reset building choice, now this is a vital one that you have on because a lot of people don't realise this. What this actually does is it means, so if you for example were building some stairs to go up a mountain, if you then went back to your building inventory, it would still be on stairs if you had this turned off. But what happens if you're getting shot at and you've only got 50 health and you need to build walls around you? It saves you. Having this this setting on makes it so that it resets back to the first thing, which is walls. So you would be able to build walls, but imagine if you didn't have this setting on, you would have stairs, so you'd have to go all the way across to the wall, and that's so much time. And obviously if you're weak, time is money, time is you surviving, so you need to be fast. So that is definitely something you want on for just like the panic reactions of building walls. That's what you need. And then turbo building, you also want that on. Basically what that is that if you hold RT down you can just spam your building stuff. It is good, but sometimes you can get a bit of like it gets a bit complicated and you start like you mess it up basically because it is so fast. It's turbo. So if you're just getting into building, I wouldn't recommend having that on, but if you are a bit more advanced, trying to improve, definitely have it on. And then auto material change, you want this because obviously if you've got only 100 wood left and you use it all and then you run out of wood, you want to switch to the next material. You don't just want it on wood and you're there spamming it and nothing's happening, so you definitely want that on. And then spectator count, you can have that on or off, it doesn't really affect your game. Controller auto run, I like to have this on because when you're running those really long distances to get back to the storm and stuff like that, you don't really want to be just like holding down your controller. You just want to double tap it, and that's going to allow you to run for like until you undouble click it or like jump or do something else. And then streamer mode, just have that off. And then right, for the brightness I have this at 0.5. The game is already very bright, so you don't really need to like juice that up. In Call of Duty sometimes you need to juice that up because the games are kind of dull, but in this game you don't need to do that, it's so bright. And then for audio, this is all your personal preference. I always turn the music off just because the music really does my head in. When you're playing games for like hours every day, it gets so annoying having the music volume on because you just have that song going in your head non-stop and it pisses you off, I can promise you that, boys. And then right, so you have the dialogue volume, that's just like people talking and stuff like that, so you can have that where it is. And then just copy this stuff. This isn't really going to affect your game, like voice chat and stuff like that. I'm actually going to turn voice chat off just because I hate it when you get a little squeaky 10-year-old that's screaming down the mic. And then for accessibility, now this is a weird one. You might be thinking, why'd you have colour blindness mode on? I am actually colour blind, so this does help me, but as well, like playing Call of Duty, all the other games in the past that I've been playing, I've never used colourblind mode because I can normally like distinguish between different objects. But in Fortnite, I feel like the colour mode is so there's like loads of colours that are really similar, and it really catches me off guard sometimes. So having this on, it just makes different objects pop out a bit more. So basically what it does is it makes things easier to notice. So if there's someone in the distance, I'll be able to notice them with colourblind assist on. Without it, I genuinely just don't even see people. So obviously if you're not colourblind, this isn't essential, but I've heard a lot of people that aren't colourblind also using this, and they're saying that it's really good and it's actually up in their game. So feel free to actually try this. Your colours do look a bit weird, but I mean, if you're going to play better, it's worth it. And then the final thing, which is probably the most important, is your controller configuration. Now, I run Combat Pro. For me, this is the best one you can use. I have a SCUF controller, so for me, like, I could use any of these and do really well. But for me, this is probably the most important gunfight wise, building wise, because pressing B to build, it's basically the same across all of the controller settings, so there's no difference there. And then all of this does is it means you can easily crouch while in gunfights. Like, when you're in a gunfight, crouching actually reduces like the spread of your bullets, so you want to be crouching in your gunfights all of the time. Now, with crouching B and RS, your right stick, pressing it down, that makes it so easy, because you don't need to take your thumb off your aim, so you don't actually, you can always be aiming, and it's not going to affect your accuracy because you're not having to take your thumb off your right stick and then click another button somewhere else, and in that short time that person could move and then you're no longer aiming on them. So it just means that you can always be aiming whilst crouching, and that is vital for me. And obviously, like, all of the other materials are basically like conserved across all of the other configurations. They're like the same, so it doesn't really make a difference there. For me, that is like the best thing to go with, and I would definitely recommend you use it. I know a lot of people are using Quick Builder nowadays, but for me, Combat Pro is the one, because I do have a SCUF controller, and I kind of think I might make videos about what is the best controller to use to be good at Fortnite. So if you want to see that video, let me know down below in the comments. Also, any other suggestions for videos that you want to see, let me know and I'll make them. But yeah, it's been TheGIBBYNATR. Be sure you drop a like on the video if you did enjoy it and it helps you out. Subscribe to the channel if you are new and you want to see like the best Fortnite content that's going to help you improve as a player. I'll see you in the next video, lads. Peace.